What if you could own as much land as you could walk in a day? Sounds like a dream, right? But for Arun, this dream turned into an obsession, and then a nightmare. A simple farmer, once content, became consumed by greed, chasing more and more, until he made one fatal mistake. How much land does a man truly need? Watch till the end to find out. Arun thought about, oh God, do I even have a life? Every day, from morning till evening, all I do is till the land. How wonderful it would be if I owned a little land. But how could a laborer like me ever become a farmer? Sighed a farm laborer named Arun. Arun worked as a laborer on a landlord's farm. Both he and his wife labored tirelessly. They couldn't sit idle. They found peace only in working. After a long day's work, they would sleep soundly at night. Hard work made them feel hungry, and they ate heartily. Both of them were strong and healthy. They earned enough wages to eat well, drink well, and live comfortably. And yet one day, Arun let out a deep sigh of discontent. A thought crossed his mind. If only I had some land, I too could become a farmer, a big farmer, even a landlord. Then I would have less work and more comfort, less toil and more wealth. I would hire laborers to work for me while I lived a life of ease. The devil within him filled his mind with such dreams of luxury and comfort, and from that day on, the simple, content life he had once lived no longer satisfied him. His landlord was a kind man. He had no children or heirs, so he decided to sell all his land to his laborers at a very low price. Arun too bought 5 acres of land. He was no longer just a laborer. He had become a farmer. He hired laborers to till his land, sowed good quality seeds, and by the grace of God, the rains came. Seeing his fields lush and green filled Arun and his wife with joy. Year after year, he reaped good harvests. Slowly, he built his own house, acquired better tools, and even saved some money. Yet he still wasn't satisfied. One day he said to his wife, "We only have 5 acres of land. This little land is not enough to make a good living. Shouldn't we try to get more land?" His wife liked the idea and replied, "Yes, you're right, but how can we get more land?" One day Arun heard a rumor. There is incredibly fertile land along the banks of the Vodya River, where crops grow with minimal effort and little fertilizer. After the rains, the soil retains so much moisture that tall stalks of wheat sprout on their own, and the land is practically free. Hearing this, Arun sold his land. With the money he earned, he set off with his family toward the banks of the Volga River. There, he purchased 50 acres of land and settled down. He also bought some livestock. With fertile soil and strong cattle, he soon became a wealthy farmer. His prosperity grew day by day. Since he had laborers working for him, he had plenty of free time. Yet despite his good fortune, he remained unsatisfied. Whenever he sat idle, his mind raced with thoughts. What if I could get even more land? Then I'd be considered a great landowner. I'd have many laborers and servants working under me. In his obsession with acquiring land, Arun lost his peace of mind and even his sleep. He had forgotten that true happiness lay in contentment. One day, a traveler stopped by to drink some water. They started talking, and the traveler shared an interesting piece of news. About 250 kilometers from here lies the vast steppe region where the Bashkir people live. They are simple and kind-hearted. They have so much land that they are willing to give it away for a small gift. I'm heading there myself to settle down. Arun thought, why shouldn't I go there too? 50 acres are not enough for me. There, I could easily get 500 acres. He shared his thoughts with his wife. Listen, I'm taking a boat south of the Volga River. About 50 kilometers from there lies the steppe region, where the Bashkir people offer land at a throwaway price. I'll go and check it out. You take care of the house while I'm gone. Taking 1,000 rubles with him, Arun set out with his servant. After a long journey by boat, they reached a riverside town. Following the traveler's advice, Arun bought gifts for the Bashirs. Then, after a full day of walking, they finally arrived at their destination. The Bashkir people lived in tents along the riverbank. They were a carefree and cheerful community, spending 4 months of the year simply enjoying life, doing no work. As soon as the Bashkirs saw Arun, they came out of their tents and gathered around him. They immediately realized that a new customer had arrived. They welcomed him into their tent, and Arun was pleased by their warm hospitality. A little while later, their chief arrived, and he was introduced to Arun as their leader. Arun greeted him and presented the gifts he had brought. The chief, delighted by Arun's generosity, said, "We are very pleased with your gifts. You have come for land, haven't you? You may take as much as you want." Arun was overjoyed. "How much do I have to pay?" he asked. The chief smiled and replied, "Our price is always the same, 1,000 rubles for a day." Arun was confused. 1,000 rubles for a day? What kind of measurement is that? How many acres will I get? The chief laughed. "We do not measure land. You can claim as much land as you can walk around in one day. Wherever your feet take you, that land will be yours." Arun was astonished. "In one day, I can cover an enormous amount of land." The chief grinned. Yes, that is true. But there is one condition. You must return to the starting point by sunset. If you fail, you will lose your rubles. Arun liked the condition. That night, he couldn't sleep properly because thoughts of becoming the owner of endless land kept running through his mind. Just before dawn, he dozed off for a while, but soon a loud call woke him up. Arun Bhai, wake up! He had to leave with the Bashkars before sunrise. Arun took his spade and mounted a horse brought by the Bashkars. They rode to a vast open field in front of a hill, stretching beyond sight. Everyone gathered there. The chief approached Arun and said, Look, all the land you see ahead is yours for the taking. You may claim as much as you can by sunset. Then, removing his tall hat, he placed it on the ground as a marker and continued, You will start from here. You can walk in any direction, right or left, but you must return to this very spot before sunset. Arun's eyes lit up with excitement. The land was as flat and fertile as a palm. He took out 1,000 rubles from his pocket and placed them on the hat. He removed his long coat, tightened his belt, packed some food, and prepared himself. From today, all this land will be mine. The thought filled him with immense joy. As the sun lit up the sky, he started walking, marking the land at intervals. He kept going, pushing himself harder. But as the day went on, exhaustion crept in. The sun was setting, and he still had a long way to return. Panic gripped him. What if I don't make it back in time? His breathing grew heavy, and he started running. The chief shouted from afar, Arun, hurry! The sun is about to set! With sheer willpower, Arun pushed himself forward. At last he collapsed, but his hand landed directly on the hat. The chief exclaimed, Well done, brave man, you have acquired vast land. Arun's servant ran to him, but found his body lifeless. Blood trickled from his mouth. The servant took the spade and dug a grave. Arun was buried in it. In the end, the Bashkars stood still, watching as Arun's servant dug his grave, just 6 feet long, the only land he would ever truly need. The chief shook his head and sighed. Man runs after more and more, yet in the end, he needs so little. Arun had dreamt of owning vast land, but his greed had driven him to his final breath. The land stretched endlessly around him, yet none of it was his now, and so the lesson remained. Wealth, power, and land mean nothing if one loses the most precious thing of all, life itself.